Good morning, Queen of Posh. I am Diane Davis, and I am Silver Premier of Team Posherella. That's still kind of weird for me to say. It just became official yesterday. Today, Erin has asked me to do a training on how to push through hard times in your business. And I have to admit, when she asked me to do this, I laughed. I said, "Are you sure you want me to do a training?" I am not great at this whole video thing, so bear with me. Hopefully I won't bore you to death. And I want you to feel free to ask questions throughout this, and I will try to help answer them. As I thought about how to best do this training today, I decided to just tell you about my Posh journey and what I've gone through to get to the point that I am at. So I joined Posh just over 10 months ago. I joined at the very end of January, right before our spring-summer catalog launched last year. And I loved the product, fell in love with the product, so decided to join. And at first I had not planned on doing any selling. I thought, well, maybe share a little here and there, make it a hobby. I'd tried other direct sales companies, hadn't been super successful, and decided I would just kind of check it out. So I was a silent observer on Queen of Posh for a few days, and it was right at the beginning of the month, and everyone was getting these shout outs, and I thought, well, if they can do this, then why can't I? Hi, Lacey. So I decided to try and see if I could get those 30-day props, 60-day props, 90-day props. And because I loved the sisterhood, I loved the recognition, and I didn't realize that I was missing that in my life. And so I decided to try and do a little Facebook launch party. And one thing led to another, and the first 3 months were amazing. I hit my 90-day perks in my first just over 30 days. I had successful parties. I was able to recruit pretty easily. It was great. I mean, I hit Pink +3 in my third full month with Perfectly Posh, which who doesn't want that? But as after that first 3 months, things started to slow down a little bit. I'd kind of exhausted my warm market, and recruiting got a little bit harder. But I was still determined to earn the monthly award. I'd earned it the first 3 months, and so I pushed through. I kept looking I watched all that training and tried different routes, and was able to find enough recruits and PV to get that monthly award for 2 more months. And then summer hit, and it was so slow. We'd been warned that it gets slow in the summer, and that's typical for any direct sales company. And I definitely felt that. My team felt that. Recruiting was down a little bit. PV was definitely down. Everyone was distracted with the summer months, and I started to get discouraged. I had pushed so hard that I was completely burned out. I was emotionally, physically, mentally, everything just exhausted. And so I really struggled, and there were many times when I wanted to quit, and I would go and find people that I could talk to. So Erin was a huge help, and she was able to help talk me through, because she was not my sponsor, she's my adopted sponsor. My sponsor kind of quit after the first few months, and so Erin became my mentor and sponsor, and my husband was super supportive. So that really helped me, but I didn't realize it at the time. But my negativity and the emotional stress that I was under really started to affect all of those that surrounded me. It was affecting my family. It was affecting my business. And I'm pretty sure, not that Erin would admit it, but I'm pretty sure I was driving her crazy a little bit too. And so I decided that even though it was hard, I had come too far to quit. And so I decided to just keep pushing through. And so then August came. And in August, there was the Costa Rica incentive was well underway, and my team was doing fantastic. They were growing, PV was great, but my business was still floundering, and I was frustrated. It was killing me that my team was doing so well, and I wasn't. I wanted to be helping them more than I was. And that was the month that I actually promoted to Premier. And while I was happy I promoted, I didn't feel like I deserved it. And so instead of continuing to be totally depressed about it, sorry, I got anyway, I wanted to, so instead of just quitting and whatnot, I was like, okay, I've got to make this so that this is more something that I'm doing and not just my downline just pushing me to this. And so September came. It was the last month in the incentive, and we had the big kit sale. I was able to recruit a lot, which was great, but it ended up kind of backfiring a little bit too because I lost some of my best customers, and a lot of my teammates lost their best customers. So everyone was struggling with qualified front lines. And that same month, I had one downline, Alicia, you're amazing, but she was pushing for the trip, and in that month she also hit Premier, which normally a lot of times when you're a Premier and you have a Premier hit under you, you automatically promote to Silver because you usually have a big enough team outside of that Premier to make it happen. But I had grown so fast and she had grown so fast that that didn't happen. I was so discouraged, and I thought, well, we'll make it happen next month. But what happened in October is I had the opportunity to go to the Ultimate Day Away down in Salt Lake. And following that, I was able to go to a leadership retreat. And at that leadership retreat, at first, I was there were 3 platinum premiers, and all of these people that had been with the company for years, had teams of thousands. And I was so overwhelmed and felt like I did not belong there. But as I got more comfortable and went through the training, I got to know these ladies and realized that I was not alone. I was not the only one that was struggling. And that was so good for me to realize that it wasn't just me. It wasn't something that I was doing. It's just kind of the nature of this business, that you're going to hit walls. You're going to run into hard spots. You just have to keep under more rocks. There's Shanae. She is one of my inspirations. And what'd she say? Anyway, so she said that they needed me there. So hopefully I was able to help somebody else too, but it was so helpful for me. And we did a personality test, and in that personality test I found out that I'm kind of different than most people. I'm super detail oriented, and I think differently, and I think differently than Erin, and so I learned through that I have to do things a little bit differently. I don't have to completely mimic what other people are doing. You have to kind of find your own way, and I think that's really important. So I came home from that leadership, thanks Shanae, but I came home from that leadership retreat just re-energized and re-motivated, and I was so excited to implement all of these different things into my business. And I got home and found out my team was burned out from the incentive. Everyone had pushed so hard and they kind of needed a month off. So while I didn't quit Posh, I decided that I needed to kind of take a step back too. I read novels. I love to read. I hadn't read for months. And so it was really good for me to just kind of take a step back from everything and relax, which I really hadn't done. I needed to kind of rebuild and re-energize myself and take time for myself. And how often do we do that? We are always preaching, pamper yourself, and you deserve it. But do we really believe that? Are we practicing what we preach? And in October, I really tried to take that to heart. So then November came, and I thought, okay, this is going to be the month. We've got all of these sales coming. This is going to be great. And the first half of the month was so slow. If you asked me a week ago if I was going to hit silver, I would have doubted it, because I was still over $10,000 away. My company sold over $10,000 in the last week, which is incredible. And so Erin kept telling me there's a lot of months left. You can't give up. You can't give up on everyone on the 15th of the month. And so that was really good advice too. You just never know what's going to happen. So through all of this, I wanted to just tell you some of the lessons that I learned. Number one is find a mentor. Find someone you trust. They don't have to be with Posh, but find someone that you can talk to, you can vent to, and don't make it your downline. You don't want to discourage them and make them frustrated, but you do need to find someone that you can turn to and that can help you out when you are struggling, when you do need some different advice. And like I said, it doesn't have to be someone with Posh. There's so many sources out there, and just a really good friend that you can talk to and be honest with. I think that's important. The next thing, you got to fake it till you make it. Because even at the beginning, when I was doing really well, I still didn't feel like I had everything under control. So I just kind of kept faking it and pretended like I had everything under control, even if I didn't. So you've got to take things one day at a time. And this is something that I've learned throughout my life. One of my kids was born at 26 weeks, was in the hospital for 99 days, and that is certainly a lesson I learned during that time of my life, that you have to take things one day at a time. You can't worry about the big picture all the time. You just have to take it as it comes. And so, and with that, you've got to be positive. And that positive energy is going to be contagious. Your team's going to feed off of it. Your customers will feed off of it. So be positive. And that's something that I'm still working on, and it's something that I struggle with. And that's okay, but something to think about. Next is you've got to believe in yourself. And if you're struggling with this, surround yourself with people that believe in you. And Mary Rose says, I'll admit October was a really slow month for me. I really considered hanging up the towel, but then I realized I couldn't quit. I didn't really try to get myself out of the slump. So let's see, there's more. So I begged a couple friends to host Facebook parties. I used some of the tools I found through groups, and I'm sitting at over 2,000 in PV today. Mary has had an amazing month, and she, like she said, she's kind of quit. I thought that she was off the radar, and I was so shocked when I started seeing her PV increase this month, and it just kept going up and up and up, and she has just had an amazing month, and I'm so proud of her. And so she was able to find a way to push through, and you got to look under other rocks and look for other avenues to make yourself successful. Thanks, Erin. So back to believing in yourself. Surround yourself by people that do believe in you and that can help build you up. And you can't rely on them all the time. You've got to find ways to believe in yourself too. Look at, I had filled out this improvement tracker, and looking back at that, I'm like, okay, look at all these things I've done. Surround yourself with like positive quotes, hang them on your mirror, do whatever it's going to take to be able to convince yourself that you are great, because you are.